to Bridges, and a very happy Thanksgiving to you and yours. I'm Monica Schmelter, and I'm really glad that you could join us today for Bridges. Today for Thanksgiving, we have a really special episode for you. All of the team here at WHTN is going to share one of their favorite Thanksgiving recipes with you. That is everybody except me, because my recipe was a kitchen disaster, so I'm like a kitchen flop today. But we've got some really great things. Sam and his wife are making a sour cherry pie, and Allison is doing a loaded mashed cauliflower. We're going to hear about some pumpkin cheesecake and an absolutely fantabulous what to do with your turkey leftovers, turkey stew. Alex is going to do that. So we have got this program just loaded with fun, loaded with great food to share those recipes with you. And coming up first today on Bridges is our new production manager at WHTN. His name is Tag, and he is making this cheese ball, I should say caramel apple cheese ball. And when I first heard about that, it didn't sound good to me. And you all, I got to get an advanced taste, and it is absolutely delicious. So enjoy this special episode today. Happy Thanksgiving to you. Here's Tag with his cheese ball.
Thank you, Lord, for all you've given to me.
Hi there, I have some Thanksgiving trivia for you. Did you know that the average American eats 16 pounds of turkey every year? And that's not counting that we have a lot of vegetarians in this country. So the rest of us have to eat a ton of turkey to take up their slack. Did you know it's not uncommon for turkeys to die of heart attacks? Last year alone, over 840,000 turkeys died of heart attacks. It's one of the leading causes of turkey deaths. Of course, the leading cause of turkey deaths is Thanksgiving Day itself. And finally, according to corporate legends, TV dinners were invented because of leftover Thanksgiving turkey. In 1953, the Swanson Company had a surplus of 260 tons of frozen turkey. So a salesman came up with the idea of pairing the turkey with frozen peas and mashed potatoes, putting them in an aluminum tray and selling them for 98 cents. And if you like that recipe, stay tuned for my recipe that is one of my favorites and will be a hit at your next Thanksgiving dinner.
Happy Thanksgiving. We're so glad that you're here celebrating Thanksgiving with us. We at WHTN are just thrilled to be with you and showing you some of our favorite dishes and recipes. This dish needs a little bit of an explanation. So everyone loves mashed potatoes, including me, but a few years ago I started experimenting with a mashed cauliflower substitute, and I think I've gotten it pretty good. So I wanted to show you how to make it. If you're trying to eat a little bit lighter, or you just don't like that heavy feeling you get from eating lots of potatoes at Thanksgiving, then this will be just the thing to hit the spot. So you're going to start with 2 bags of frozen riced cauliflower, or if you want to go hardcore and buy the raw cauliflower and roast it and puree it yourself, you're welcome to do that. I've done that too, but this really saves on time. So it just kind of looks like a rice substitute. And fun fact, you can use riced cauliflower for fried rice if you want to avoid rice. But anyway, so I've got it nice and hot here, and I'm going to start by adding 3 tablespoons of butter and a splash of half and half. And then, even though it is riced, I'm going to use my immersion blender to get it nice and smooth and creamy. If you don't have an immersion blender, you can put it in your food processor or a regular blender. So with an immersion blender, the trick is just to get the head really submerged in the food so that it doesn't splash everywhere. Okay, so once you get it down to the consistency that you like, you're going to set this aside, and you can start folding in the really delicious stuff that you like. So I've got sauteed onions, which were just sauteed in butter and salt and pepper, and that adds a little bit of flavor and substance. You can add in sour cream. We're going to use about a 1/4 cup here. And then the good stuff, which is shredded mozzarella, or you can use shredded Parmesan, you can do shredded cheddar. Really, your cheese of choice is a good option in this. And then you're just going to fold it all together. And really, if your cauliflower has cooled off, as this has a little bit, you can stick it all back in the microwave or put it on a double boiler to keep it warm, and it'll get nice and melty. But once you've folded everything in together, you're going to salt and pepper to taste. So all you cooks out there, you always salt and pepper at the end, and you taste as you go. So that way you can make sure it's not too salty. And if you did get too much salt in it, just add more cauliflower. It's a really easy forgiving dish, and you can even make it the day before and heat it up right before you're going to eat Thanksgiving. And then you'll have a really easy hot side dish to pair with your turkey or your ham or anything like that. So I hope you enjoyed this. We'll post the recipe on our Facebook, just like every other recipe that you've seen in this show. And happy Thanksgiving.
And I'm Sophie Cherry.
Today we're going to be making a cherry pie.
Yeah. So to start, you're going to start off by making your crust. So for that, we're going to start with a teaspoon of salt and 2.5 cups of flour. So Sam will get that ready for us. It's about accurate.
About a teaspoon. And you say 2.5?
2.5 cups of flour.
Okay, so I'm going to get 2.5.
There you go.
That's 1. Ready. Okay.
It's easier the first time.
It was
half
easier
cup.
the first time. 2.
Oh, I got you the half cup.
Oh, thank you, honey, but
No problem.
I sort of figured it
No
out.
problem.
2.5 cups of flour.
Yes, and so at this point, if you have a food processor at home, you're gonna pulse it a couple of times, but for this case, Sam's gonna use his hands, which I would not recommend. So from here, once you have it mixed thoroughly, you're gonna take 2 sticks of unsalted butter, and you're gonna cut them up into little cubes. And for you at home, you'll wanna take the paper off the butter first, and then cut it up. But for us, this is gonna work out just fine.
Presumably you know anything about cooking at all when you start. Then you cut it into, see, cutting, I got
Cut
a
it into
handle.
little cubes, yeah, and you do that so that when you put it into your food processor, it's easier to mix, and it goes a little bit quicker.
Right.
So you'll put that in your food processor and pulse it until it starts to form some thin little crumbles. It won't look like a pie dough yet, but there will be little beads of butter in there. Okay, so from there you're gonna take a tablespoon of water each time, and it's gotta be really cold ice water so you don't melt the butter. But you're gonna take some some water and evenly distribute it around your food processor or whatever you're using and mix it together until it starts to form a dough. So that's what we're doing right now. Once that's done, you're gonna throw that in the fridge, and then we're gonna start by making our pie filling. So I'll move this out of the way.
All right.
So to start that, you're gonna put 2 cans of tart cherries into your bowl. So we'll pour those in there. And once you have those in your bowl, you're gonna go ahead and put in the vanilla, sugar, and cornstarch. Okay, you got the sugar?
Yes. Which of these unlabeled white powders is sugar?
The far one.
Okay.
Yeah. And so this is gonna come together really nicely once you're baking your pie and form that really gooey, thick filling that everybody loves. Yep. You can mix that with that little spoon too.
Okay, instead of my hands.
Yeah, let's do it without the hands this time.
Yeah.
So once you have this all mixed together, the berries should look coated in like a thin pink juice. And you'll throw those back in the freezer, or in the fridge with the dough. So at this point, you're gonna pull out your dough, which we've got right here. Great job.
We made this in advance with a food processor.
Yes, real food processor. Okay. And then you'll definitely want to flour the surface that you're rolling it out on because it's going to be about 1/8 of an inch thick, which gets pretty thin. So you'll want it to be extra floured so you don't have anything sticking to it.
Do you want me to put flour on there?
Yes, please. I'm going to let you roll it out too.
Oh.
Yeah. And we don't have a rolling pin at our house because we're newlyweds. So we use a cup, and you can use anything with kind of a flat surface that's a cylinder. There you go.
We just.
It's gonna be really nice. Yeah, so if you start out with cold dough, it's gonna look a lot like this. But once you let your dough kind of warm up a bit, it'll be easy to roll out on every side. You're doing a great job.
I'm doing a job. I mean,
It's okay. Do you want me to try?
I think that
Okay,
would be
I'll do
better.
it.
I think
Let
that
me
would
do
be
it.
a better thing.
What's your favorite part about being a sous chef?
That I don't have to know how any of it is made.
That's fair.
Basically, just chopping peppers and browning meat.
You like to be a sous chef and a taster.
Yeah, I get a lot of the ingredients out of the cabinets is a thing I do. So I pull a lot of stuff out of the fridge and out of the cabinet and set it on the counter. And I add cumin sometimes, but nothing as complicated as rolling dough out.
I think we're ready.
Okay.
So once you have it to like about 1/8 of an inch, you'll go ahead and lift it off the table where you were rolling it, really gently because it's super thin, but you're gonna take it and you're gonna lay it into your pie tin. So once you have your pie crust in the tin, you're gonna go ahead and take your pie filling out of the fridge and put it in here. And you want everything with it because there will be some liquid at the bottom, but that'll make sure it's really nice at the end.
Good, I was worried.
Yeah.
If we have liquid at the bottom. Okay.
And then from there, you're gonna take some dots of unsalted butter and put that on top of the cherries. Yeah, so you'll just take about 3 tablespoons and dot that on top. There you go. Okay, so while you roll out the top piece of dough, you can go ahead and throw this back in the fridge. Keeping everything's really cold is really good so that you don't melt the butter. So then once you have that finished, you'll throw that back in the fridge and pull out your other half of the pie dough, and this will become your topping. When you're rolling out your pie, you might want to just keep flipping it from either side so that it's easier to make it a circle instead of just a big old square.
All right, looks like it's shaping up.
Yeah. So once you finish the top of your pie, you're going to bring the pie with the filling back out and place it gently on top. Make sure that you cover everything, and again that you have about a 1/2 inch to an inch overhang on the edges. From there, we'll take our knife and cut off any excess, which is super duper easy. Let's see. See? Okay. So from here, you'll crimp the edges and make it look really pretty. I'm sure, you know, everybody's mom has their own way of doing it. You can adopt your own, or you can do it an old way. But just make sure that the edges are closed, and then we'll cut a C into ours for cherry and cherry pie. And then you've got a really pretty pie, ready to go in the oven for 1.5 hours.
Sure. And we already made one last night,
Yeah.
so we have a pie.
We have a pie.
That should look like
It's
this.
our Thanksgiving pie. And if you bring it to your family dinner, they'll love it.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Hi, I'm Kathy Morgan Thompson, Traffic Manager here at WHTN. For our recipe segment, my daughter-in-law, Kelly, is going to show us how to make a pumpkin cheesecake in an Instant Pot. So why would you use an Instant Pot, Kelly?
Well, I really like using my Instant Pot to make cheesecake because you can just set it and let it go. You don't have to keep checking on it, and it pretty much makes it perfect every time. It's a very consistent way to cook your cheesecake.
Awesome.
So it takes about the same amount of time as cooking it in an oven, but it's just, you know that when it's done because it beeps and it tells you and you're ready to go.
Great. All right, let's go over the ingredients that we need for the cheesecake. We'll
right.
start mixing it.
All right, well, the first thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna get our graham cracker crust together, okay? So for this, the way that I do it is I put it in a Ziploc bag and I use a rolling pin to crush it. You can also use a food processor. And so you're gonna crush your graham cracker along with some butter, some sugar, some ginger powder, and cinnamon. For time purposes, we've already got that done and we've pressed it into the pan, so it's ready to go. Then the next thing you're going to do is you're going to start adding your ingredients for the cheesecake. So first you're going to cream together your cream cheese. You got 2 blocks of cream cheese going in, and the sugar. And we're going to cream this together until it's completely smooth. For you making it at home, it's probably going to take a little bit longer than what we're doing right now, but we're just going to show you exactly how to get this going. So next you're going to put in some vanilla. So you have 2 teaspoons of vanilla going in. Okay, a cup of pumpkin. This is not the pumpkin that's ready for pie. This is just pure pumpkin. And then you're going to put in some pumpkin pie spice. So it's 3/4 of a teaspoon. Okay, so it's all together. The pumpkin spice, allspice, cinnamon, ginger powder, nutmeg, and then also 2 teaspoons of all-purpose flour. And then you're going to mix that all together. And the last thing to go in is going to be your eggs. And this is probably the most important part because you do not want to over-mix your eggs. So you're going to add your eggs in.
Take it out and stir it
It's
in.
okay. We'll just do it very slowly in the mixer with the eggs, and only until they're just incorporated. If you beat this for too long, once you add your eggs, your cheesecake is going to be like rubber, and nobody likes a rubbery cheesecake. The last step is to add in your heavy whipping cream. And again, you're just mixing it until it's incorporated. Nothing too long. Okay, and so then it's ready to go. You scrape down your sides and pour it into your pan. And you're gonna want it to be a smooth consistency. So when you're creaming your cream cheese and your butter, make sure it's nice and smooth before adding in the remainder of your ingredients. Perfect. Isn't that beautiful? Okay, so then you're gonna put a paper towel on top. When you're cooking in a pressure cooker, it's using steam. And so you wanna put a paper towel on top to absorb some of that moisture so it's not soggy on the top when it's done. And then you're gonna cover it with foil. And in your Instant Pot, you're gonna have 1½ cups of water, because that's what's going to build the pressure in your pot. And you're also going to have your trivet in there. To make it a little bit easier to take out, you can use a foil sling on the inside of your Instant Pot. I usually don't do that step, but we'll show you how to do that today. And then you use that foil sling to set it on in. You want to be careful not to spill it on the sides as you're putting it in there, because sometimes you can, get it a little bit tippy, and you don't want to do that. Okay, so now we got it in the pot, and we're going to put it on manual setting. And this is going to cook on our manual setting for 55 minutes. So it's already set for 55 right now. A lot of times when you hit that manual setting, you're gonna have to adjust your time. So it's set, it's on manual. We need to make sure that it's sealed in the seal position, which is all the way back, like Kathy just did. And we're gonna let it go for 55 minutes. And then we're gonna let it release pressure for 20 minutes after that. You'll know that it's releasing pressure when the little L comes up on the screen and the numbers start counting up, and that's when it's releasing the pressure. And we're gonna wait until it says 20 minutes, and then we are gonna be good to go.
The pin drop.
Yep, the pin will drop. Well, once it's at 20 minutes, the pin might not be dropped, so you'll just have to switch this over to release the pressure, and then the pin will drop. Once the pin is dropped, then you can go ahead and unscrew the top. And your cheesecake will come out beautifully happy. There you go. That's an absolutely perfect cheesecake straight out of the pressure cooker. So there's multiple ways that you can decorate the cheesecake once it cools. You can either decorate it with some drizzled chocolate or caramel or both. The way that I like to decorate it is just with some whipped cream and happiness. And we're gonna take this off here. So once it's cool, you can just take, release the springform pan and then pull it up. See how pretty? And then this is just some heavy whipping cream with some sugar and vanilla to taste, and a piping bag with a nice large tip. And you're just going to put a couple of swirls on there. I'll probably do 4 little swirls, maybe one in the middle for extra love. Okay, one in the middle, and then maybe a little more, because who doesn't love whipped cream, guys? Oop, it's coming out of my hand. One more. Okay, and then we'll throw some pumpkins on there. And now it is ready to be presented at your Thanksgiving table. Beautiful.
Hi, I'm Alex Baldwin, professional chef extraordinaire. Today, I'll be teaching you how to make the ultimate Thanksgiving stew. It's a simple dish, but the way you prepare it makes all the difference. Using my 50+ years of experience, I'll show you how to elevate your stew to the next level and have a ton of fun in the process. Let's get started, shall we? Now, to source these ingredients, I usually go to the source and scour the world to find only the finest raw ingredients. However, if you can't do that or you're low on time, there is another way. You can find a surprising amount of decent ingredients if you go on a scavenger hunt around your house or workplace. Let's do that now, shall we? Follow me. First things first, we need a crock pot. Oh, there's one. One crock pot. 1 can of fire roasted tomatoes, what I need. They usually hang around, perfect. They usually hang around satellites because the heat collects and the radiation adds a little bit of flavor. It's really nice. All right, now we need some corn. Now, usually it grows in stalks in a field and all that blah, blah, blah. But the real good stuff grows on trees. So this one is great. Let's see. Let's shake this here. Perfect. So now we need some cayenne pepper and some red pepper flakes. Now, pepper likes high places because it's closer to the sun and it's hotter. So I'm gonna scale this tower.
And I hope you'll give this loaded mashed cauliflower a try. You can also top it with green onions or bacon crumbles.
Speaking of onions,
Or-
I need some onions.
What are you doing?
Ooh,
This is not your segment.
there's an onion.
This is my segment. That's my onion.
Onion,
That's
one
my
onion.
turkey.
Salt and pepper, wonderful, thanks.
So that's how you make the cherry pie.
Happy Thanksgiving.
All right. One sweet potato.
We don't have, this is a pie.
It's
I'm not making it. Oh.
There we go.
And now over to Allison for a recipe on side dishes. And
3
Alex,
cloves of
what are you doing?
garlic.
Dude,
Ah, there we go. Perfect.
dude, you're not in the script. I'm not seeing.
Okay, now we need 2 carrots. Now sometimes you can find carrots in bushes or plants. So let's check here. Oh, look at that, perfect. 2 carrots. Now it's time for the turkey. Now, I've found that the fresher the turkey, the fresher the stew. And if you do it right, you can have the turkey come to you. Now let's try it. Hey, turkey! Aha, there's one. Let's check it out.
Ah, there you are. That was quick. Thank you for your service.
All right, and finally, you need 2 cups of chicken broth. Now, I've found that certain breeds of chicken yield the best broth. I'm partial to Andalusian or Lakenvelder or Barbuduckel. Now that we have all of our ingredients, let's prepare them now, shall we? Now all that's left is to throw everything into the crock pot and cook on high for 4 hours. Now you want to make sure to put the turkey pieces in for only the last 30 minutes. Now, I've discovered that you can increase the flavor significantly if you stare at it intently for the entire duration.
Many unbearable hours later.
And it's done. Look at that. You'll never have a better stew in your entire life. Enjoy it while you can. Anyway, I hope you have a stupendous Thanksgiving. Bye.
You can purchase a copy of today's show for $15. Call us at 615-754-0039 or send a check to the address on the screen. Please mention the program number on the screen.
Log on to www.ctntv.org, where you can make a prayer request, view our program guide, see who's on bridges, or even watch one of Monica's latest teachings. Log on to www.ctntv.org.